trading in the stock market?
Yes.
So you have stock market accounts?
Yes. I have COL and System Life.
Wow, so you have three?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much that would be in the future?
It will be more than 50 million.
Wow.
Come to It's Time Stock Market and we will teach you everything. Hey there. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for giving me my own travel fund. You should give your kids their own travel funds too. It's time!
I'm JJ.
I'm Jam.
I'm Jack.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time WoW!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
So every Wednesday, we will invite wisdom-filled individuals to share with us their expertise, competence, and experience that will help us gain more success, knowledge, and wisdom.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday. It's time.
My name is JJ.
And I am Jam.
And I'm Jack. And I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time Energy.
Joey MJ and her husband are both graduates of law from St. Louis University in Baguio. The whole family is into public speaking, giving their signature talk. It's time.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my mom, Miss Joey Taylor!
Unleash the soul!
us every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom in
Matter of factly
with Ray.
and Joey.
Hello everyone, I'm Jamie Tayaban, and I'm here to teach you how to change your virtual background. Click the app button beside the stop video. Then it says choose your virtual background. Click the plus button to add an image. Then choose your photo. Click open. That's it, you're done. Congratulations!
You gotta say no to temptation. I was reading the book of my friend Jesse Teaba this morning, and he was saying, you know, we make excuses for giving in to temptation. You know, when guys commit adultery, you know what they say? They say in Tagalog, paano ba naman kung ang palay na ang lumalapit sa manok? In English, you know, when the rice goes near the chicken. Tama? That's right. But hey, manok ka ba? Are you a chicken? I could have said that as a married guy. I could have said that in the early years of my married life. Well, what can I do? Guapo. You know, there are women who come and they're attracted to me. Well, what can I do? What can I do? I could have gone to the easy path, but I decided I'm going to obey God and I'm going to trust Him. That one day I'm going to have a harvest. I'm going to have a great harvest. You know, adultery, we laugh about it, but it creates so much pain in this world. Not only with the spouse that gets violated, but the children and the example that you give. And if there's some people here who have fallen into adultery, I speak God's forgiveness to you. You can start anew. You can change today.
Hi guys, I'm Joey. I'm here to show you how cool our Sun Life PH app is. If you're a policyholder, make sure you download this app so you can access your policy anytime, anywhere. So go to Google Play Store or App Store and search for Sun Life PH to download the app. Once done, open the app. Its icon looks like this. Click that and click My Account. Since you're new, you need to register first. Make sure you have your policy number ready. After registration, you should receive an activation email like this one, so just follow the instructions there. When everything is set, you're now ready to log in to your account. Once logged in, you'll be able to view your policy details, like you may add here your photo or the nickname of your policy. And if you click the fund value, it would show you the current NABPO of the different funds of Sun Life. Ours is usually 100% index, so you would see it's only at 1 peso and 9 cents, so it's perfect to buy and add some more. And when you navigate to service request, you can see the different services offered on the app, like filing a claim, updating your contact info, or mailing address. And lastly, the last icon will show you if you have some notifications. So that's it. I hope that this short tutorial has empowered you to have that sense of control over your own Sun Life policies. If you're my clients, I do have my own exclusive FB group for you. Feel free to join so that you can be updated from time to time on what's going on. Here are my contact details. Website is sunsyjoey.com. My FB personal account is joeymj or facebook.com/jmjfamily. My two pages are Sunsy Joey and It's Time. And of course, my exclusive group for you entitled My Sun Life Valued Clients. So live brighter with Sun Life. It's time.
Join us every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. via Zoom in
Matter of factly
with Ray.
and Joey. Hi everyone, I'm gonna teach you how to use the GCash app to pay off your insurance policies. First, you need to download the GCash app, and if you don't have one yet, just use my QR code so we both get an incentive. And once you've downloaded the app, find the icon on your phone and tap on it to open. Type in your password. Tap on the upper left hand and link your account so that you can fund. I'm using BPI, so click on BPI and it'll tell you to get verified first. When you click on that, it'll give you an instruction on how to get verified. Assuming you already have a balance here on your GCash account, you're ready to now make payments on your insurance. So click on Pay Bills and click on Insurance. Scroll down to the very bottom to see Sun Life of Canada, Philippines. And when you click on that, it's gonna ask for how much you want to pay, and your account number will be your policy number and then email address. And on this page, I'll just make you confirm the details of your payment. So if everything is okay, just click confirm. That's how you pay off your insurance policies through GCash app.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Before we begin, let's start with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this Zoom meeting. We thank you for all the blessings and all the attendees. We pray that we will all learn a lot and that this new information and knowledge that we will learn will be used for good and for your greater glory, O Lord. All of these we ask in Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. Good afternoon, everybody.
I'm Jesse.
I'm Joey.
I'm JJ.
I'm JM.
I'm Jack. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time Wow!
Wisdom on Wednesday.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
So every Wednesday, we will guest wisdom-filled individuals to share with us their expertise and experience so that at least by the end of this lockdown, we will all be filled with wisdom.
All right, so before we begin, we'd like to introduce our speaker. Please watch this video. Please watch this video.
Hi.
Bad news.
How are you guys? We are actually live, but not publicly. We are live only in Genesis 100, which is the exclusive group of Sun Life Advisors for Sun Life Advisors and by Sun Life Advisors. So it's just gonna be for us, although Attorney Cabrera said that we'd be able to share the presentation portion to our clients. So if you want that portion, you can just grab it from inside our exclusive FB group.
All right. Here is your intro video for our speaker for today. special guest today is a regular speaker in estate planning forums, having spoken before civic organizations, residents of plush villages in Metro Manila, lawyers, doctors, businessmen and other professionals, board members and executives of business corporations, financial advisors and preferred clients of banks and other financial institutions. He has also spoken before the Filipino-American business community in Hawaii and the officers and staff of the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office under the Office of the President of the Philippines. He studied grade school at San Beda, attended high school at Ateneo de Manila, and earned his bachelor's degree in economics at the University of the Philippines in Diliman. He took up law at the University of San Carlos in Cebu. He currently sits as the chairman of the board of directors and the chief knowledge officer in estate planning of the Wealth Management Center for Communications and Research Incorporated. He is also the author of the best-selling book on estate planning, Thy Will Be Done, Understanding the What, Why, and When of Estate Planning.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Attorney Angelo Cabrera.
Unmute. Ask to unmute. Sir, please unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. It feels different. Wait, this one is echoing. All right, better. Can you hear? Please give me a thumbs up just to be sure that you can hear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. All right, I decided to make my setup different so that I'd be more relaxed. The last time I did something for Sun Life, I was very painful after 4 hours of sitting down facing a computer. So I set it up this way. So you know how I am. I'm really very, very magulo. My hands keep moving a lot, and I would need that. And I'm preparing actually for the event this Saturday also of Sun Life. All right. So please just let me know if there's a problem.
Your audio's not clear.
All right. So let me just put up my PowerPoint. All right. How many are here? I have to look at, I'm actually using 2 units for my presentation, and I hope if pag ganahan ako, I will show you another side of myself. I will show you something apart from estate planning, which I do. Would you like me to do that? Kung
Yes.
gusto nyo lang, ha? Kung ayaw nyo, okay lang. All right? No, I'm not going to sing. Okay, so I was invited by Joey to speak on anything involving estate planning. And I decided that, you know, during at this time, what is most important is really preparation given the condition that we are in. And that condition is the fact that we are currently locked down. And that means what can we do while locked down? What is it that we can do? Can we do a plan? Even in this situation, yes, you can. And this is what I will be talking about, will writing, okay? This is only a very small portion of the seminar that I usually conduct. In fact, this Saturday, I'll be doing that 4-hour session with, they tell me there'll be about 5,000 who will be attending that seminar. So I hope we'll get that number because that is really going to be a benefit webinar for a group that I am helping back in Cebu. All right, so let me begin. And I understand some of you, or a number of you, have probably attended my seminar. So this would be a repetition to some of you, and I hope it would help refresh your knowledge about some aspects of estate planning. All right. So let me begin with something that we all are familiar with, something that we learned in college, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'd like to change it a bit by saying that there's another one called the hierarchy of financial needs. And the most basic of this, as you all know, as most of you would know by now, is the need for financial protection. Anything that will ensure that the family will be taken care of regardless of the circumstances. Then, when we started working, as some of you are there working, although we're now confined, and still, some of you are still able to become productive, isn't it? Be productive in spite of everything. But anyway, as we started working, we learned to set aside a portion of our income in order to finance a future project, getting married, funding the education of our children, or building a house. And so we engaged in what is called a savings. And then through time, as savings grew, they became funds, and we looked for various instruments to place these funds in. And depending on our risk appetite, our risk profile, we choose particular instruments. We call that investment. The matter of enhancing what we already have by the use of the right and proper instruments. And finally, we reach a stage in life when we find ourselves blessed with so much. A beautiful house, a prospering business, funds in different accounts here and abroad. And all of this comprise what we call as wealth. And as we look back, we see our children, our family enjoying the comforts of life, the blessings of wealth, and we're thankful to the Lord. But as we look forward, we know deep in our hearts that there in the horizon is an invisible finish line, a line that is drawing nearer and nearer at each passing day, a line that we shall all cross one of these days. And when we do cross that line, we will be living behind two treasures that we hold dear in our hearts: our family and our wealth. Here's your concern. Here's our concern. We would like to make sure that even as our family today is enjoying the comforts of life and the blessings of wealth, that they would continue to benefit from this wealth, from the fruits of our labor beyond our lifetime, beyond the finish line. And so we sit down and we start the process called estate planning. The first two have to do with being financially well. You have a savings and protection program. You are financially well. That is foundational. That is very important. Yesterday, I was in a Bible study, and we were studying the book of James. And James actually defined what religion is. And he said that pure and undefiled religion is this: taking care of orphans and widows in times of their needs. What better way to do that when you protect them in times of their need, when the breadwinner is no longer around? That is what protection is all about, isn't it? And that's something very foundational, very fundamental before you go to any of the higher needs. That is something that you and I must address, must make sure that we are adequately protected. And the next two have to do with the concept of wealth management, the matter of enhancing what we already have by the use of the right and proper instruments, and the matter of eventually passing on what we have to the next generation, hopefully as a blessing. Excuse me. My presentation mode, I think, is okay. There you go. That's better. Nabibisto ko ano yung susunod kasi eh. So ginawa natin ano. better. Can you hear me? Yes. You can again. All right.
Sorry,
Okay.
your audio is lagging.
So we go back. Uh, so this is the hierarchy of financial needs, and today we'll be focusing on a particular, a small portion of estate planning. As I said, this is usually a 4-hour session, but I'm going to choose just one topic for this afternoon. Okay, something that you can take away, something that can be beneficial to you as you take away the learnings for this afternoon. Okay, let me start with this one. It's something that I firmly believe in concerning ownership, and that is that God is the owner of everything. From the heavens to the earth, gold and silver, He is the owner, and we are merely managers. Ownership, stewardship, those are two different matters, isn't it? Now, why is this important? Because when we confuse our roles and we begin to think of ourselves as the owners and not merely managers, we begin to hold a tight grip on wealth, and wealth in turn will begin to hold a tight grip on our hearts. It would cloud our minds, and we make many wrong decisions concerning wealth. And you know, during in my okay, all right, is the audio bad? Please let me know.
It's better
Is it
now.
bad? Yes
No,
or
it's
no?
okay
But it's
now.
good. It's good. Okay, I can see Janet thumbs up.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. So I'll just trust. I can see Janet in one of the screens here. So Janet, I'll be relying on you. You just wave your hand in case it's bad. All right? Okay. So it's bad. You just wave your hand. No, no, no. Okay, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. So people make many wrong decisions concerning wealth because of their wrong appreciation of who the real owner is. And I submit that God is the owner, we are managers. There's a far greater reason why God has chosen some of us to hold the wealth that we have today. The what, the why, and when of estate planning, that is the title of my book. And first part of the book defines what estate planning is all about and the different horror stories. I, 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 I put in there a number of real life stories concerning the problem of no planning, wrong planning, or inadequate planning. But anyway, let's define estate planning. It is a detailed and systematic study of the personal and financial affairs of a person to help him adapt and carry out a plan for the disposition of his properties and earnings that can give him, referring to the estate owner, and his family, referring to his children, his future heirs, maximum benefit and satisfaction. That's one of the many definitions of estate planning. You can read that in books. If you will, I'd like to share with you my own personal definition. It goes this way. It is the effective utilization, conservation, and timely distribution of God's resources entrusted to a person to enable him, his family, and communities to enjoy the blessings of wealth during and after his lifetime, all in accordance with God's will. I invite you to consider the following in the light of these definitions. Number one, the wealth is not only intended to be a blessing to us, more importantly, it is intended to make us a channel of blessing, not only to our families, but even to our communities, to our country, to our church, to the least of our brethren. Oh, this carries a greater meaning today, isn't it? This is a time when we, those of us who are blessed, are called upon to share the blessing to those who are in need on account of this crisis. Number two, conservation is not only about keeping our wealth intact, it is also about keeping our family whole. Understand this. Many times we enter into all kinds of schemes, try to conserve our wealth for the benefit of our children in the future. What we don't realize is we may be effectively pushing them into a conflict situation that they find themselves fighting and quarreling over wealth. If I may paraphrase a verse of scripture in the Bible, for what profit the heirs if they gain the whole estate but lose their peace in the process? Is it worth it? I submit that the greater purpose of estate planning is precisely to keep the peace, the harmony in the family, even as wealth is passed on to them. Number three, estate planning is not only about tax avoidance. Surely that is one of the objectives, but not the only objective, because a greater objective, I submit, is conflict avoidance, particularly court avoidance. Do anything and everything to avoid the courts just to settle the estate, because that will not only erode the very inheritance, it would also affect the relationships within the family. Number four, estate planning is not only about ensuring the future of heirs. Our children are important. Sure, we should plan for them. But may I say that if there is anybody who should be protected first and foremost by any planning, it is the parents. Estate planning is as much about protecting the welfare of parents as it is about ensuring the future of children. And why do I emphasize this? Because many times parents make the mistake of already passing on their wealth to their children at the time that they are very much around. Every Sunday, we have a Zoom meeting with my siblings all across, some parts of the world and province. And my brother told me that he met with his children already, and they've already decided on who is going to get what among the properties of my brother. And that's good, I said. And then he asked, should I transfer this to them now? I said no, because that's not going to be inheritance. Inheritance is an after death event. And you must realize that circumstances can change. And one day you might find yourself with nothing. When there is this change in circumstances, what will happen to you? And I have told him, you know what inheritance is all about? It's all about transferring properties after death. And you know why? To allow you the flexibility, to allow you to adjust to the circumstances. Pag pinamigay mo na yung mga properties mo, nagbago ang circumstansya, wala ka nang magagawa, napamigay mo na. So it's good for you to hold on to those properties. All right? I talk about it in a regular forum. I spend time talking about this one. All right? And finally, estate planning is not only about facing the reality of death, it is also about living life to the fullest. To be able to use all the talents that God has given you to produce wealth, to enjoy those wealth, and to be a channel of blessings to those wealth, to live life to the fullest. That is what estate planning is really all about. Now we go straight to the matter of will writing. And before that, let's talk about some rules. First, let's discuss what a last will and testament is. It is a document whereby a person is permitted with formalities prescribed by law to control to a certain degree the disposition of his estate to take effect after his death. Note the underscored portion, to a certain degree. What does that mean? It means that we are allowed by law to give to whomsoever we like through the instrumentality of a last will and testament. but only to a certain degree. And what is that degree? To the degree that we have given to our compulsory heirs. You see, under our laws in the Philippines, inheritance laws, we are under a system of compulsory heirs. That basically means that we have to give to them, to our compulsory heirs, our children, whether we like it or not. That the law has reserved a portion of the inheritance for them, and that's why they're called compulsory heirs. Now, but you are allowed by law to give to who some some people that you'd like to favor with a bequest, for example. You can do that, but only to a certain degree. Again, to the degree that you have satisfied the requirement of law concerning the rightful shares of compulsory heirs. Okay. And so let's look at what these rightful shares are as we look at the estate distribution rules in testamentary succession. In other words, when you write a will, how much should go to whom? What are the requirements? What are these rightful shares? All right, so let's first define some terms. The legitim is simply the rightful share of a compulsory heir. All right, that's a simple definition. The rightful share of a compulsory heir cannot be reduced, cannot be taken away from that compulsory heir without his consent. All right. In other words, as a matter of fact, if you do not give a compulsory heir his rightful share, and that results in the complete deprivation of that heir of his inheritance, that will effectively invalidate the will. All right, you understand? Because they're compulsory heirs. You have to give to them. Again, let me repeat that. You fail to give a compulsory heir in the will, which effectively, completely deprives him of his right in the inheritance, that will be considered nullified, invalidated. All right? Now, I mentioned earlier, but what if I want to give to the church? Sure, that's what you call the free portion. The free portion is that part of the testator's property which he can will or give to whomsoever he likes, except to those expressly prohibited by law. Interesting, those who are prohibited by law, there are actually three, but only one is relevant for our purposes, and that's basically persons with whom the testator is the person who writes a will, is guilty of adultery or concubinage. All right, so even if you institute that person in the will, that person cannot be given an inheritance because of this express prohibition by law. All right, we'll be quick here. Let me just show you how it works. For example, you are going to write a will tonight, all right? And now, who are your compulsory heirs? Well, I have one legitimate child and one spouse, all right? Who would be surviving if I go ahead, of course. So if you have a 100, if your estate is this pi, the rule is 1/2 would go to the child, the legitimate child. Understand? 1/2 of the estate, always to the child or the children. In this particular instance, the spouse would get 1/4, and the other 1/4 would be the free portion. You can choose to give that to the spouse in order to equalize, or maybe you want to give it to the child so that you don't have to increase the estate of the spouse, or which may be subjected to a bigger estate tax in the future. You may give it to the church. You may give 50% to the child, 50% to the spouse. You can do whatever you like, give to whomsoever you like the free portion, except to those expressly prohibited by law. All right? Now, what if you have two legitimate children and a spouse? Here goes. Again, the rule, 1/2 is the share of legitimate children. 1/2 divided by 2, 1/4 each. The spouse, the rule here, whenever there is more than one legitimate child, the rule is would get a share into a child. So since one legitimate child here is entitled to 1/4, the spouse will get 1/4 to be taken from the other half. The balance, free portion. All right? What if you have 4 children like me? Look at what happens. 1/2 divided by 4. The spouse to get a share equivalent to 1/4. All right? I mean 1/8. And here's the interesting part. The free portion is now bigger. So what does that tell you? The more children, the bigger the wife would be at. Okay. All right. I'm pausing for a while because there's a problem. Okay. Let's wait. Okay. Better now? That's please blame it on Globe. The past 3 days, Globe has been very intermittent in its services. I mean, the internet here has been intermittent. So thank you, Janet, for the wave. All right. So here we go. It seems that the spouse is at a disadvantage when there are many children, isn't it? And the free portion is bigger. But is it? Is that the only property that the spouse would end up with? No, because there is the other side. In other words, 50-50% by the husband and the wife, which means that the wife's portion, in this case, the blue portion, the wife's portion or the surviving spouse's portion is not something that she would inherit from the husband or from this
Sir, your audio's lagging. Sir, we can't hear you.
Oh, he's muted. What's he muted?
There's no audio.
That is her. She would.
Okay. Let's fix this first.
He doesn't have any audio. Sir, you don't have an audio. Check if Paolo is in. Paolo isn't here.
Technical difficulties.
Sir, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Oh, wait. Mute. Okay, test.
There's none. No audio. There's no audio.
Where you now have an illegitimate child, here's what happens. The rule is an illegitimate child will be entitled to 1/2 the share of a legitimate child. In this case, since there are 2 legitimate children, 1/2 divided by 2. So 1/4 is the share of a legitimate child. Therefore, the share of an illegitimate child is what? 1/2 of 1/4, which is 1/8. All right? Now, what if you have 2 or more illegitimate children, a surviving spouse, and illegitimate children, or 2 or more legitimate? What if you have so many illegitimate children, like a former senator in Cavite, 77? All right. So, what if you're in that situation? Where will all the properties for distribution come from? I mean, the pie can only take so much, isn't it? But this is how it's going to be done. Notice, the legitimate children's share cannot be touched. The spouse's share cannot be touched. That means that the illegitimate children will simply have to divide amongst themselves whatever remains. In this case, wala na siyang free portion. Okay? Next, legitimate parents, illegitimate children, and surviving spouse. As between the three, who do you think will be favored by law? The rule is whenever there are no legitimate children, it's the legitimate parents who would take over the share of the legitimate children. So in this case, the parents would get 1/2. The surviving spouse, the illegitimate children would get 1/4. The surviving spouse, 1/8. And the remaining balance of 1/8 as the free portion. Where you have a surviving spouse and illegitimate children, here's what happens here. 1/3 to the surviving spouse, 1/3 to the illegitimate children, and 1/3 as the free portion. Surviving spouse and legitimate parents, 50% to the legitimate parent, 1/4 to the spouse, and 1/4 the free portion. Take note, as I said, whenever there are no legitimate children, who would take over? The legitimate parents. Surviving spouse and illegitimate parent. What in the world is an illegitimate parent? An illegitimate parent is one who is the parent of an illegitimate child, which basically means that you can be, now I'll stand up, all right? Because my back is a bit painful. All right. It means that a person can be both a legitimate parent and an illegitimate parent. He is a legitimate parent with respect to his legitimate children, and he is an illegitimate parent with respect to his illegitimate child or children. So in this particular case, who is writing the will? Who's writing the will? It is the illegitimate child. And who are his compulsory heirs? His spouse and his illegitimate parent. And this is how the estate is to be divided. 50%, 1/4 to the parent, 1/4 to the spouse, and 1/2 as the free portion. All right? Okay. So those are the rules. And that means that when you write a will, you must be aware of the minimum share of each child. All right? Of each compulsory heir. Okay? Now let's go to the tools. The tools mean what are the instruments by which the estate could be divided and partitioned. All right? So there are various ways by which this can happen, the partitioning can happen. For example, if there is no will, nothing. In other words, like in 95% of cases in the Philippines, you have an estate owner. He has properties, and he dies without any will, without any plan. In this case, what happens? Then the problem pala is this. The heirs are in disagreement. Uy, akin to. Hindi, akin dapat yan. Hindi, akong bunso. Ako nag-alaga kay Papa. Etc., etc. So they're in a disagreement. The only way by which this can be settled is to bring the matter to court. The court will try to arrange a settlement among the heirs. The worst that can happen, if the heirs do not want to settle, the court can order the selling of all the assets and for the division of the proceeds of the sale in accordance with law. All right? But if it's able to get the heirs to agree, then the court will issue a court order, which will now be the basis for the transfer of the properties. That's what you present to the registry of deeds, for example, or to the bank, or to the corporation. All right? Now, Like I said, 95% of cases in the Philippines, no plan, absolutely nothing. But they don't have to go to court. Instead, they simply will do this. You have the estate owner, you have the properties. And again, he dies without any plan. So what then can happen? This time, the heirs are in agreement. If they are in agreement, they can now actually decide, oh, sa'yo ito ha, okay lang ba sa'yo? Ito sa akin na lang. Ako, huwag niyo na lang akong bigyan at maganda naman ang aking kalagayan. In other words, they among themselves would decide and put that agreement into what is called an extrajudicial agreement or settlement agreement. And when that is done, extrajudicial means you don't go to court. No need to go to court for that one. And when you do that, all right, and you're able to agree, this will be enough to present to the registry of deeds for the transfer of real properties, to the bank for the transfer of funds, to corporations for the transfer of shares of stocks. This document is enough, of course, subject to the payment of taxes for the transfer of the assets to the heirs. It sounds easy, isn't it? But the truth is, it's easier said than done. Why? This requires a unanimous decision. Unanimous. In other words, if one disagrees, ayoko, bahala kayo. Hindi ako pipirma dyan. There can be no extrajudicial settlement. You will have to go to court. Ano ito eh? Ano mangyayari dyan? Nakala ng mga pipirma na lang yan. Dali lang yan. True. Hindi madali. All right? Am I still good? Can you still hear me? Okay, thank you. Now, let's go to a third one. You can actually use a trust. A trust is operates like a will in the sense that you create that document before you die. And you declare your properties as being part of the trust. And part of that provisions of the trust is that upon your death, the assets contained in the trust will be transferred to your designated heirs. All right? So it has its advantage in the sense that here you already do some planning. All right? Because before death, there is already an instrument. Of course, this will require a longer time to explain, and that is not part of our session this afternoon, okay? So, the next one is a last will and testament. A last will and testament, similar to a trust, is something that is created before a person dies. And then when he dies, what happens? The will, after it has been approved by the court, will then be the basis for the transfer of assets. Again, what happens here is you prepare the document ahead of time. So when you die, there is immediately something that the children can use as guide in the transfer of assets. So of course, if I ask you a question, which is better, planning or no planning? Of course, planning is always better. Di ba? Ang hirap ng walang plano, lalo na nga yung bang yung pare-pareho yan, kahit na mayaman na yan, hindi ibig sabihin na magkakasundo sila kagad. Sa katunayan, maaaring hindi nga sila magkasundo. Bakit? Pareho yung gusto nila eh. Yung isa gusto ito, yung isa ito rin yung gusto. Paano yan? Sino ang magre-referee dyan? Alam niyo kung sino referee? Last will ang referee. Alright? There are two types of will, notarial or legal will. A notarial will is a document of property disposition subject to many requirements and formalities. Napakarami niyan, but we don't have time to look at all of them. Suffice it to say that these are very strict requirements. Number of witnesses, tatlo dapat. You must be properly put the pages there, pages A, B, C, D. Pag walang pages, invalidated na kagad yung will mo. Bakit? But importante yung pages para maiwasan ang dagdag bawas. Alright? So marami ang mga requirements. And again, in this environment na COVID tayo, lockdown tayo, ang hirap gumawa ngayon yan siguro dahil pupunta pa tayo sa lawyer nga, magpipirmahan yan, may notary na mangyayari dyan, and pinaplano talaga yan ng maigi. Alright? Kasi may mga formalities, yung witnesses nga, and all of this. Alright? So, itong sample na notarial will, it will sound like a contract, no? No, who you are, that you are doing your last will and testament, etc., your disposition. Then you sign, there is the attestation clause that basically says that, there are 3 witnesses who attest to the fact that they know that the testator, in this case, signed it with full knowledge of what he's doing, that he has sound mind in doing this. In other words, may testamentary capacity siya to sign the document. And the witness must all sign. And remember, witnesses sign in the presence of each other. Hindi pwedeng padadala mo yung dokumento sa kaibigan mo, pakipirmahan, tapos balik mo sa akin. Hindi pwede yun. Kailangan in the presence of each other yan. And that has to be proved in court. And then, here's the thing, notarize yan. And lahat sila nandun. Hindi pwedeng pupunta ka lang sa sidewalk, notary public. Hindi pwede yun. Alright? Lahat sila nandoon. Okay? So, apart from a notarial will, the other type of will, which is really the point of my time with you, it is really to convince you that you can do another will even tonight. Something that you can do tonight. And I will even dare you to do it tonight. You call it the holographic will. A document of property disposition which must be entirely written, dated, and signed by the testator himself, subject to no specific form, and look at this, need not even be witnessed. Wow! Walang witness, wala. Kahit na papel lang dyan sa tabi-tabi, pwede yan. Handwriting lang, i-date mo lang, you have a will that could be as equally enforceable as a notarial will. Something that you can do tonight. And here's my advice, do it tonight. The first step in estate planning is writing a holographic will, is putting all your thoughts in writing, determining who will get what, listing down your heirs, and listing down your assets, and matching which asset will go to which heir. Put that in writing. And that's something that you can do tonight. All right? The important thing is, you don't even need witnesses. Bakit walang witnesses? Itatanong nyo siguro. Bakit wala siyang witnesses? Yung isa naman, 3 witnesses. As I mentioned earlier, the purpose of the witness is really to attest and testify to the fact that the testator knew what he was doing, that he has sound mind. Ibig sabihin, may capacity siya talaga. Now, kaya nga kailangan merong witnesses kasi ang gagawin lang ng testator in a notarial will, pipirma lang siya. Malay niya, hindi pala sinabi sa kanya, bibili po tayo ng bahay na bago, pinapirma sa kanya yon. Or maybe, hilo na siya, pinapirma sa kanya yon. Alright? Maari ganun. Ay, dun nga papasok yung mga witnesses to later on testify and say that he knew exactly what he was doing. All right? Now, sa holographic will, witnesses are not required. Why? Because the mere fact that he could write a will is already indicative of the soundness of his mind. All right? So that is already presumed by the fact that he could write a will. But a will may be necessary upon probate or approval of the will. Yung witness, lalabas lamang yan kapag papa-approve ng will. Ang gagawin lang ng witness is to attest and testify to the authenticity of the signature or handwriting of the testator. Ngayon, kung if necessary, the court may order the handwriting expert to examine the handwriting. All right? So now, the best part of my estate planning seminar, alam to ni Joey, is the dramatic portion, the drama in the writing of wills. All right. So I will show you an example of a holographic will written in love letter form. All right. Love letter. It was written by my father for one of his friends and clients, and with permission, we've been using this. But here you will see that the will does not need to be a formal document to convey properties, but it can be a personal letter to convey your last thoughts and wishes for your children. I can tell you that if you attempt to write a will tonight, I can tell you that you'll realize that it's not easy because you go through a lot of emotions. Because you'll be thinking of your family without you. You'll be thinking of the good times, the bad times. All of this, all of this will play into that emotional moment. And that's why I'm bringing you to that emotional moment, emotional ambience. As this will is written or is read to you, complete with background music. All right, Joey, let me know if you can hear. Huh? Dear Joshua and Peter, this is my last will and testament, which I have opted to put in letter form, so I can express myself more intimately to you, as I always did, whenever we had a chance to engage in private conversation. I because your mother I would have gone to the house that my father prepared for me, gone physically, but eternally with you in. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. We will. Andali ah. Meron pa rin. Can you hear?
We can hear your voice po.
But there's none.
Medyo soft lang yung volume.
Pero there is.
Now wala.
Okay. Okay. Sige, sige. Let me restart that portion. Sorry about that. Yung pa naman pinaka-paborito ni Joey ang nawala. Andali lang ha. I'll fix this in a GP.
Sige, mag-ready muna kami ng tissue.
That's right. Okay. Dear Joshua and Keith. Okay, I think pwede na to. Okay. All right, prepare your tissue. Sabi nga ni Joey, prepare. Here goes. Dear Joshua and Tina, this is my last will and testament, which I have opted to put in letter form, so I can express myself more, as I always did, whenever we had a chance. Yes. Conversation.
Did not share the screen.
Yeah, okay. I did not. It shared. Wala siya? All right. Let's do it again, if that's the case. Sorry, I will share. Okay. All right. I'll do it again, ha?
Okay.
Ano kung lumabas, ha? Here goes. May lumabas pa dyan?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So here goes.
Dear Joshua and Tina, this is my last will and testament, which I have opted to put in letter,
Sir,
so I can
Yes.
express
sir,
myself
it's not playing. We can hear the
as I
audio,
always
but the slides aren't playing. Maybe start a slideshow.
Again, you were saying you can
Yes,
hear the video, the audio. Okay na?
it's okay now.
Okay. Thank you.
You have to restart lang.
Oh, restart.
Yes, there's no audio.
Oh my. Sorry. Kalisod ani, oy. Cebuano na tuloy ako. Here goes, ha?
Just have to wait for that. It's not up here, but it's just slow.
dear Joshua and Tina, this is my last will and testament.
The audio is lagging, sir.
Okay, I come to.
By the time you read this, I will have gone to the house of my father to pray for me. Gone physically, but eternally with you in the spirit. When I have told you countless times that I love you and your mother, and
Sir,
care for you very much.
the slides aren't moving.
Keeping dream to his Lord and provide for the material and spiritual needs of his wife and children.
Sir, the slides aren't moving. Sir, 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 the slides aren't moving. Sir, can you hear me? Hi, sir. Sir.
And this is what this letter is all about.
Hi, sir. Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? Hi, sir. Sir.
This should avoid the tedious process of dividing our joint estate physically. Even the news enjoy comfortably during the years of our life.
Sir. Attorney Cabrera, can you hear? Hi, sir. 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 Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? Sir.
Besides,
Do
the
you know his
absence of
phone
something
number, Janet?
more
Maybe you can hear
trying to
me.
succeed.
No, sir. Sir,
Outside,
the slides aren't moving.
in college, you know, be that
Sir.
if for one reason or another you don't agree with the idea of
Yeah,
a
please call na lang. Call him. Si Paolo kaya. Wala si Paolo inside.
at night, in that event, this is how I want
I I noticed that I moved my yeah. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Joey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, good, good. If you can hear me, apparently the it's not very good. The what do you call
Do
this?
you want me to
The
play it for you? Is there like do you have that on Google Drive? Maybe you can share.
ano
I'll
no?
play it for you. Do you want me to play it from you from my end?
It's okay. It's okay. I think the better way is for me to just read it. No,
Okay.
okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So narinig ko rin na paputol-putol eh. Please don't blame me. Please blame Globe. All right. Here goes. I will go. Huh? Dear Joshua and Kina, this is my last will and testament, which I have opted to put in letter form so I can express myself more intimately to you as I always did whenever we had a chance to engage in private conversation. I'm addressing this to you because your mother and you are my only principal heirs. By the time you read this, I would have gone to the house that my father prepared for me in heaven, gone physically but eternally with you in spirit. While I have told you countless times that I love you and your mother and care for all of you very much, let me use this final opportunity to say that from the time that your mother and I got married, and the good Lord gave the two of you to us, I tried hard and did my best to be a good husband and a good father who was obsessed with a dream to raise a family in the ways of the Lord and provide for the material and spiritual needs of his wife and children. To be sure, I had my weaknesses and failings, and I did commit a lot of mistakes, all of which you know. But I'd like you to forget them and charge them to the fact that I, after all, was still a human being in need of God's mercy. By the grace of God and your mother, I was able to build up a modest estate, which heretofore is now yours. And this is what this letter is all about. How I want you and your mother to share and divide it. If it is possible and you are inclined to agree with me, I would want each one of you to execute a deed of renunciation over your inheritance from me in favor of your mother. This would avoid the tedious process of dividing our joint estate physically, give her the means to enjoy comfortably the remaining years of her life, and decide on her own how our properties will be partitioned between the two of you. After all, both of you are grown ups now, have good jobs, and do not really need at present, nor in the foreseeable future, your inheritance from me. Besides, the absence of something to depend on should spur you even more to strive and succeed on your own merits. That was how I motivated and encouraged you from day one of your graduation from college, didn't I? Be that as it may, if for one reason or another you don't agree with the idea of renouncing your inheritance from me, I will not mind. It won't really matter anymore, would it? And neither will your mother, I'm sure. In that event, this is how I want my properties and my share in our conjugal estate to be divided. The house in Pasig belongs to your mother's share of our conjugal properties and therefore cannot be the subject of this will. The same is true of the furnitures and other personal properties in said house, our Toyota Corona, and the beach property in Calatagan, Batangas. The property in Baler, Quezon, is her paraphernal property, having inherited the same from her parents and cannot be the subject of my disposition. To your mother, I am giving the Valle Verde condominium unit in Baguio City, as well as my shares of stock in Meralco and ABS-CBN. To you, Joshua, I am giving the house in Loyola Heights subdivision, together with all the furnitures and equipments therein. Also, you will have the Toyota Corona, my computer and all its accessories, my fax machine, all the books I accumulated through the years, my college ring, and because you and I wear the same size, all of my clothes, shoes, and other wearing apparel. I am also giving you my shares of stock in Ayala Corporation. To you, Kina, I am giving the Renaissance condominium unit in Pasig with all the improvements, furniture, and equipments therein. You will also have the Mitsubishi Galant car, all the jewelry I inherited from my parents, which are in the custody of your mother, as well as the Salameta oil painting in my study at home, which you have always admired. I am also giving you my PLDT shares of stock. The proceeds of my life insurance policies, which are in my safe at home, where you and your mother are designated as irrevocable beneficiaries, must first be applied to pay the taxes on my estate. From what remains, I want you to give 100,000 pesos to Aling Sepa, our faithful help, who was your yaya from the time you were born, and another 100,000 pesos to Aldrin, who was my driver, valet, and man Friday for more than 20 years as my legacy to them. From the same insurance proceeds, I want you also to give 1 million pesos to our church, designating 500,000 pesos for the church building fund and the other 500,000 pesos for the Christian education ministry, which, as you know, has always been very close to my heart. So that God alone will be glorified, let no one apart from you know that I am giving this legacy to the church. I have asked your Uncle Martin, because he is a lawyer, to be the executor of this will to serve without bond. The day after my mortal remains shall have been laid to rest, call him for the immediate disposition of my estate. In the event he dies ahead of me or for one reason or another cannot perform the functions of an executor, seek the help and assistance of Armand Palma, my dear friend and former classmate. He also knows about this alternative designation, and he is also to serve without bond. I know how thankless and tedious the job of an executor is. Thus, I want you to give to whoever will serve as one the amount of 500,000 pesos, not as compensation, but as a gift, to be taken also from the proceeds of my life insurance policies. In the event my named executor refuses to accept the amount, buy him something you believe he will appreciate, or donate the amount to a charitable institution in his name. I lived a full life, for which I am eternally grateful to my Father in heaven, for the opportunity to have served him in my humble and modest capacity. I praise God. For the joy that you and your mother have always been to me during my earthly pilgrimage, I thank the Lord. And for the greatest blessing of all, the gift of eternal life, which I received when I surrendered my life to Jesus Christ, I'm exceedingly and abundantly filled with gladness and thanksgiving unto my Savior. To him be all glory and honor. Now I leave this world prepared and excited to meet my Creator. As St. Paul wrote, for to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. I love all of you very much. Your daddy. He signs it and he dates it. And what do you have? You have a will that is as equally enforceable as a notarial will. Now, don't you think that is a better way of living a last letter to your children, to your family? Instead of being very formal, know all men by this presence. Parang pangit naman ng sulat na yun, ano? Now, kidding aside, it's really good for you to write your wills tonight using your own language. Let your very person come out of that letter. Yun ang kagandahan ng holographic will. Eh. Your character, your very person can really be seen in that letter. All right? Again, let me reiterate, the first step in estate planning is writing a holographic will. It's not going to be perfect, but in fact, it's probably going to be wrong. But that's all right. It's the first step. You know, the thing about written instruments is this. Let's just say that this will is invalid for whatever reason. May maling distribution or whatever reason. The thing is, even if you have an invalid will, the children can still use this as basis for an extrajudicial settlement. Sulat naman to ni Papa, sundin na lang natin ito. In other words, it may not have a legal force, but it certainly can have a moral suasion, a moral force upon the children. It is always best to leave things in writing. All right? And so the challenge remains, write your holographic will tonight. Once the lockdown is over, go to your lawyers and ask them to, review the will and see if it is done properly. Okay? Now, if something happens during this lockdown, yun nga, sinasabi ko sa inyo, merong written instrument that can serve as the referee of your children. All right? So there you go. That's the end of my presentation. All of this and more are found in my books, which comes in three. This version comes in 3 books. Book 1 is all about the relevance and importance of estate planning. Book 2 is all about rules and tools in estate distribution, and part of that is what I discussed with you today about wills. It also discusses trusts and all that's found in the book 2, including who are your compulsory heirs, how much should they get, etc. And book 3 is a book on taxation and settlement option. You can order that by texting or calling that number that you see, or you can scan that QR code, which will bring you to the order form. All right? So now I will give you back, Joey, what do we do from here? Do we have an open forum?
Yes, we do. We will have an open forum now. But first, I'd like to take a picture muna, video, kasi usually nawawala na sila in the end. So please turn on your videos, guys. Turn it on. And then we'll have some group photo first. Yan. Sir, would you like to go nearer the camera so that we can see you?
Nearer the camera.
Yan.
Okay.
All right, smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next page. Smile. Next page.
First one.
Okay. Okay, one more. Smile. Yan. All right. So now,
Okay.
we have first J. And then if you want, please raise your hand na lang so that we can unmute. JJ can unmute you because he has the control. So first is J. Obial. He has a question for you. Hi Jay, where are you?
You want to read it na lang or you want, okay, that's okay with me.
Pwede rin naman to read. Ayan na. Hi Jay.
Hi! Hi,
Kailan
attorney.
excited kasi
Hi,
kay
Joey, and
attorney.
everyone. Hello?
Hi Jay.
Hi.
So, thank you for your wonderful talk, attorney. So, I have a question. Can I include in the will the properties and assets that I have yet to acquire? Example, inheritance. Thank you.
Putol, can you repeat that, please? Putol.
Yes. Hello, attorney. Ayan. I have 2
Go ahead.
questions. First is, can I include in the will the properties and assets that I have yet to acquire? Example, inheritance. Parang retroactive. Hello?
You cannot. Only those that you actually own already, or at least has an interest over, can be included in the will. In other words, you cannot will away something that you don't own.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. The next question is, what is the best thing to do when one of your heirs is a minor? Is it more advisable to bequeath them all to the spouse?
Uh, again, can you repeat your
Okay.
question?
What is the best thing to do when one of your heirs is a minor? Is it more advisable to bequeath them all to the spouse?
No, you cannot because your minor child is a compulsory heir. I also already mentioned that when you have compulsory heirs, and then whether the heir is a minor or not, they should be given their rightful share. Now, what you need is a guardian, somebody who will be taking care of the whatever is inherited by the child, and that is something that is decided by the court.
Okay. Thank you, attorney. Thank you so much.
Okay, so next is Sheba. Sheba Lim. You're unmuted, girl.
Hi, attorney.
Hello,
Question.
I can't see.
Hi, attorney. Yan.
Go ahead.
My question is, for example, may anim na magkakapatid, then may isa doon, parang nasa states na. Pwede bang sabihin, ay pumirma na lang siya ng extrajudicial and that will be okay? Na ayoko na kunin yung assets or what?
Kapag ano, if he can actually waive, pero nakakapag-waive lang siya kapag patay na yung magpapamana. In other words, there is no such thing as waiver of future inheritance. So let's just say one of them is already in America. Tapos maayos na yung buhay niya doon, maraming ganyan na ayaw nang makatanggap ng kahit na ano because they're already good there. They can simply waive their rights. And whatever they waive will be divided equally among the remaining heirs. Okay? Did I
Thank
answer
you.
your question?
Yes, attorney. Thank you. And attorney, last
Okay.
question. 'Di ba kasi Chinese, Filipino-Chinese or Chinese in the Philippines, kasi normally we practice yung lalaki lang ang merong mana, babae wala.
Oh, hindi ano 'yon, hindi ayon sa batas 'yon. I know that that is the practice among Chinese. But if the modern Chinese families na may mga babae umaangal na diyan sa ganyang sitwasyon ano. At if they insist on getting their inheritance, they can get that because you cannot apply your Chinese culture in the Philippines. You can insist on the Philippine law if you are already a Filipino. Pero I know also in the culture kasi among the Chinese that they put pressure eh. In other words, pag hindi mo sundin itong ginagawa natin, itong nakasanayan natin, you will also suffer some consequence, no? So, yun, like they're ostracized from business, they're not helped, etc., etc. So, merong ganung mga sitwasyon na nangyayari, no? But like I said, if an heir insists on getting his or her share in this particular, may karapatan siya, lalo na kung Pilipinos na sila.
Thank
Okay?
you, attorney.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay, now we have Maria Teresa. Hi.
Hi, hello po. Good evening na po. Attorney, may tanong lang po ako. I-honor po ba just in case in the form of video instead of holographic will?
Again, please.
Kung yung yung magpapamana, hindi na po niya nilagay ng as a written form, ginawa niya na lang video. Binidyo na lang yung sarili niya regarding sa mga iiwanan niya para sa mga
Parang
mana.
ano,
Oo. I-honor
parang
po ba
ganito,
yun?
parang nag-selfie siya. This is my last will and
Oh, yes
testament.
po.
Ganon.
Yes po.
Hindi, walang ganon. No such thing as a video will. It has to
Dapat
be
po
written.
talaga. Thank
But
you
may
po.
value yun again. Ang maaaring value doon is the moral force. Maaaring gamitin yon, sabihin mo halimbawa sa video mo, sundin nyo to kundi mumultuhin ko kayo. O yun, baka pwedeng mangyari yun. Ano? But, pero legally, walang value.
Sige po. Thank you po. Thank you po, attorney.
Okay, next
You're
is
welcome.
Wala pala yun, Javi. Wala pala yun, no?
Hi, Myra. Myra Mancilia.
Akala ko pwede, kasi iba kasi pwede, Javi.
Hello.
Not muted yet.
Hello.
Hi,
Thank you.
Myra.
Hello. Thank you. Hello, attorney, question lang po. What if, yung meron po kasing property na binenta, ngayon yung pong may-ari, nakapangalan po yung lupa at saka bahay, dun po sa mag-asawa. Pero patay na po yung husband. So ngayon, yung pong babae, yung pong wife, nasa kanya na po nakapangalan. And then, kaya lang po nagkasakit yung wife. So ngayon, dahil kailangan nila ng pera na dagdag para dun sa pampagamot, ibinenta yung property. Kaya lang may mga anak. Pero po yung mga anak, parang 5 yata yung mga anak, pero 1 ayaw pumayag, so hindi siya nag-sign. And unfortunately, namatay na po yung mother. So ngayon po ang question, kasi hindi po nag-sign, although nabayaran na yung property, so ngayon po parang nagkakaproblema sila kasi merong isang anak na hindi nag-agree. Paano po kaya yun?
Hindi valid yung sale na yun. Kasi nga, ang kailangan unanimous yan eh. If at all magiging valid yan is only as to the share of those who signed. Ibig sabihin, unang-una, paano mabebenta yan na hindi siya nagpirma? There was fraud involved. Ibig sabihin na pinalabas nila na hindi siya heir. Ganun, that's the only way that can happen. Alright? So, pwede pang mahabol yung karapatan nung hindi pumirma nung ano. Kasi unanimous decision nga. Unanimous nga ang kailangan na decision dyan eh.
Okay po. Thank you po.
You're
Thank you, Miss
welcome.
Joey.
Alright, who's next, guys? No one else? Si Miss Janet na.
Wait, I have a question.
Ay, si ano pala, wait lang. Si JJ daw has a question. Ayan.
Hello, attorney. I have a question.
Okay.
In the holographic will, if you make a mistake, can you white out and countersign to correct it?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Gawa muna tayo nito. Gawa tayo nito.
No, you can.
Ako man. Ay, pa, ha? Ay.
There's a...
There.
Okay.
Okay, paputol-putol. Was there a follow-up question? I didn't hear anything.
No follow-up question?
So, no?
None.
All right.
All right. So, now, Miss Janet.
May question ba ako? Attorney.
Yes.
Hindi. Para lang, siguro for the benefit of others, ang free portion, attorney, applicable lang yan. That's only present pag may will, di ba?
That's right.
Pag walang will, walang free portion, di ba, no, attorney?
Yes.
Tapos, attorney, paano ang treatment sa adopted? Pag adopted ba, pareho sa share ng legitimate?
Yes, legally adopted. Basta legally adopted siya, ano yun, pareho ang share.
Walang matanong eh, di ba, Miss Joey? Kasi lagi namin kasama si attorney. Kanina lang umaga kasama namin siya.
Oo nga eh. Tapos magkasama ulit sa Sabado siguro.
Oo nga.
Yes. So, anyone else, guys? Just raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Or I think
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, attorney.
Okay. Si
My
iPhone.
pleasure.
Coming. Go
Hi,
ahead.
attorney. Would you advise for single women to get prenuptial agreement before married?
Ako, I cannot hear. Again, can you repeat, please?
Can you advise single women to get prenuptial agreement before marriage?
Am I advising?
Yes.
Depends on the circumstances. Depends on what you want, no? Uh, Normally, kapag wala namang issue yan, I do not recommend the prenuptial agreement. Kasi pag mag-asawa, Pilipino tayo eh. Pag mag-asawa, lahat yan. I mean, everything is shared between the husband and wife. The only reason why a prenuptial agreement is considered is when business is involved and you do not want na magkakahalo-halo ang ownership sa family business, etc., etc. Or minsan nangyayari yan kapag malaki ang dip ng status sa buhay nung isang yung mag-aasawa, no, yung isa napakayaman, yung isa humble, and these things are realities, no, na sometimes I tell, as a matter of fact, I pinagsasabihan ko ang parents na you might be forcing something on your children na it might haunt them in the future, na pag-aawayan nila ito, na is it worth it na ginagawa nyo ito ay mag-aasawan na rin sila. Kung negosyo lang, okay lang sa akin yon na para hindi lang magulo yung negosyo. Pero yung kung lahat ipaghihiwalay mo yung kanilang ari-arian, pag-isipan nyo mabuti. Ito sinasabi ko sa parents ito, no? Because after all, what you want is a happy marriage. Not wealth is simply incidental in the picture. Now you're trying to protect your wealth over the marriage of your son or your daughter, no? So sa akin, nasa objective mo, yung priority mo, yung prinsipyo mo, yung values mo eh. And I value the marriage of my children over wealth. Alright? Kung yung wealth na yun ang pag-aawayan nila, walang tigil na pag-away nila in the future, magsisisihan parati. Yan, yung mga magulang mo, pinilit sa akin yan. Ayun, simula pa lang ng pag-aasawa nila, may away na. So I will not recommend that if sa akin if it's a marriage, then let them marry and work things out. They're co-owners. That's what marriage is all about. Remember what the Bible says, the two become one body. So ganun din sa the matter of marriage. Now, nangyayari naman yung kung papasok ka, natatakot ka na baka maghiwalay kayo, so mas maganda nang may prenuptial agreement. Kung ganun pa lang ang pag-iisip mo na baka kayo maghiwalay, talagang huwag ka na lang magpakasal. Kasi like I said, marriage is supposed to be may room forever eh. All right? So, yun lang.
Next is Camille Fuentes. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Joey. Hi, attorney. Question lang, after the extrajudicial agreement, who will pay the estate tax?
Teka, hindi kita marinig, Iha.
Clear na po?
I cannot hear you. I cannot.
Hello, attorney?
Go ahead, Carmel.
Maraming masama yung audio. Alam mo, Joey, the better way, based on my experience, is ask them to type in their question. And since you're coming in very clear to me, then you simply read the question and I can answer. That's the better way, no?
All right. Okay, the question is, after the extrajudicial, who will pay the estate tax? Kanya-kanya bang bayad?
Right.
Depending on
the estate tax actually is to be imposed on the estate, no? And usually, pag sinabi mo estate, mga heirs na ang mag-aasikaso niyan. And this is where insurance comes in. Insurance is important because that can provide for the cash for the payment of taxes. Kasi mahirap niyan kung nagpamana ka ng mga lupa tapos wala namang pera, darating ang panahon na makakamana nga sila pero maghahagilip sila ng pera dahil lupa ang pinamana mo, so magbebenta pa siguro sila niyan. Tapos nagmamadali pang ibenta dahil may deadline. And that is why insurance can play that role of providing the cash that is needed, that may be needed at the time it is needed. I mean, the cash that will supply the funds necessary for the payment and settlement of taxes in a timely manner.
Okay. And yung kanya-kanyang bayad, probably she's referring to if there are 3 heirs and they get one property each, do they pay the estate tax of that property? Kanya-kanya?
Depende sa usapan kasi ang hindi naman ginaganyan yan na ang sinasabi nyo kasi inheritance tax na wala na ngayon. Inheritance tax is the tax on the heir. Magbabayad yung heir based on what the heir receives. Estate tax is tax on the whole estate. So if you want to be equitable, ang gagawin niyan, sige nga, ito, matatanggap ka, ikaw magbayad nitong 6% nitong property na yan, ikaw naman magtatanggap yan. Pwedeng ganun ang usapan. Or, yung nga, kung parte ng plano na ginawa na nung namatay na, meron talaga siyang inalat na portion, na isinantabi na portion na pambayad ng taxes, di doon kukunin. Ngayon kung wala, yes, equitable yon, pero hindi batas yun, no? Equitable na magbayad tayo according to the value of the estate of our inheritance, no?
Okay. So and we have from Irene Lu, if an insurance policy was taken up by the patriarch but did not name the illegitimate child, and if an insurance policy was taken up by the patriarch but did not name the illegitimate child and he dies, can this illegitimate make habol?
The insurance policy is not an inheritance just like an ordinary property that is owned by the decedent. Insurance policy is governed by insurance law. And that means it is to be given to whoever is designated as beneficiary. Halimbawa, ibinigay ko ang beneficiary yung simbahan. Walang karapatan yung mga anak na sabihin, hindi sa amin dapat yan, hindi dapat sa simbahan yan. Why? Because it is governed by the insurance law, and which says that the proceeds will be given to the beneficiaries designated in the policy. Now, if, for instance, the beneficiary is already dead, yan, papasok ngayon lahat ng heirs. Illegitimate child, papasok yan. Lahat ng mga compulsory heirs, pwedeng pumasok. Kasi, bakit? Pag wala ng beneficiary yung insurance, ang ibig sabihin namatay na ahead at hindi napalitan, ang ibig sabihin, kapag namatay yung insured, yung kanyang face amount or the proceeds of the insurance will now go to the estate of the insured. And then the estate will be distributed to the compulsory heirs.
Okay. Who else? Follow-up question from Vivian. Attorney, if my prenup, yung girl, then she dies, with kids, with parents alive, who will be the heirs of her property?
A prenuptial agreement does not govern inheritance. Prenuptial agreement only governs the property ownership during their lifetime. Ibig sabihin, kasal sila. Kapag kasal sila, they are heirs to each other, whether or not there is a prenuptial agreement.
Okay. Who else, guys? Jay, check the attendance by the participants. Who's racing? Vivian. Hold on, Vivian. Si Vivian mo. Ayan. Unmute. Okay. Vivian, do you still have a follow-up? You can unmute yourself if you have a follow-up.
Hi, attorney.
Hi.
So, ano mangyayari pag namatay? Mapupunta rin sa husband niya yung property? I mean, heirs niya?
May karapatan. Hindi
May
lahat
karapatan yung
mapupunta.
husband.
Depende kung ilan silang heirs, ilan yung asawa, ibig sabihin yung asawa at saka yung mga anak. Pero may karapatan yung husband. Like I said, a prenuptial agreement does not govern inheritance or heirship. Ang prenuptial agreement is only involves or addresses the issue of ownership of properties during their lifetime. Maaaring may complete separation tayo. Ito ang property ko worth 100 million. Kapag ako namatay, yung asawa ko kasama sa mga tagapagmana ko. So makakatanggap siya ng bahagi doon sa 100 million.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, attorney.
Okay.
Then we have Juliet. Juliet, we're unmuting you. Let's see if your audio is good. Hi, Juliet.
No audio.
No audio, Juliet? Where's the chat? I'll just read your question. Ayan na. Hi, Juliet.
No, that's not.
Oh, no. Okay. So the question is, I want to read the question of Juliet. A parent, parent owns one property. They have insurance coverage to cover the estate tax. They have 4 children. How to avoid conflicts later for the property? What's the best advice?
What do you mean how to avoid
One,
conflicts?
one property, they have insurance coverage to cover the estate tax. They have 4 kids. But how to avoid conflicts later for the property? What's the best advice po?
Yes, again, alam nyo, hindi madali yung iisa lang yung property. Alright? Ibig sabihin, lahat ng mga anak nyo magiging co-owners ng property na yan. Unless you buy and acquire other properties and ideally, meron kang isang maibabahagi sa kanila, bawat isa sa kanila. But that may not be possible for many, no? Now, if it is possible, ang mangyayari dyan is co-owner sila and you will probably tell them para hindi sila mag-away na ibenta, In other words, it's a suggestion. You cannot impose that on them, no? But you can suggest to them na kapag wala na kayong mag-asawa, na ibenta na lang nila yung property at mag-divide sila equally. Kasi napakahirap na co-owner sila. And mangyayari pa dyan, halimbawa yung isa tumira na sa ibang lugar, ito siya, may natira doon sa bahay. Ang problema doon aangkinin na yon nung nakatira doon. Usually, mahihirapan ng paalisin yon. Lalo na pagdating na ng second generation, yung mga anak na nakatira doon. Ayan na, mahirapan na yan. Ididimanda mo ba yung kamag-anak mo para makuha mo yung bahagi mo? So, mahirap talaga, no? So, ang ina-advise ko dyan is number 1, if you can already set the stage for them by telling them now na kapag wala ka na, ibenta yung property at maghatian sila. Or kung merong may kaya, to buy the share of the other so that isa lang ang may-ari. I can assure you that if the co-ownership is maintained, it may really result in conflicts within the family. That's why, as much as possible, I always advise against co-ownership. Now, halimbawa naman, 2 lang yung anak. Isa yung bahay. Ano ang maaari kong gawin? Diyan na naman pwedeng pumasok ang insurance. Pwede mong gamitin na insurance ang ibibigay mo dun sa isa. Ang ibig sabihin nun, may matatanggap din siya. Maaaring pareho rin ang value, pero in the form of cash, in the form of insurance. So that's another way. Instead of building or acquiring another house, you simply use an insurance to equalize the inheritance of the children. Okay?
G is next. G, I know you want me to read pero parang hindi ko naintindihan yung question. Baka better if you do it. Hi G, you're unmuted. If only legitimate was designated as beneficiary, so illegitimate cannot make habol, free portion, anything.
Designated beneficiary in insurance, di ba? Are we talking about insurance?
Yun nga po, I don't. Hi G, maybe you could.
Yes.
Ayan. Hi G, we can hear you.
Yes, that's it.
Yan. G, we can hear you. Tama ba yung intindi namin sa question? If only legitimate was designated as beneficiary, so illegitimate cannot make habol, free portion.
Yes. Yes. The beneficiary.
I already answered that. I believe that life insurance policies are governed by the rules of insurance. And the rule says that the proceeds will go to whoever is designated as beneficiary.
Okay. Then we have BM, Mina, Wondok.
Yeah.
Hi.
I have a question, yeah. Thank you, Miss Joey. Yeah. Mother, is this my client? The mother died 2012. The father died 2015. There are 4 children. One child died 2019. Is it possible to put the property direct to the names of the children of the son who died? If settlement is to be done today, how many, like the estate tax? Of course, you pay the tax for the mother, the tax for the father. How about for the legitimate son? Do I still need to pay tax when it is not yet? How would everything pass?
Estate tax is paid only upon death of a person. All right? Pag hindi pa namamatay ang tao at pinasa niya yung kanyang property, hindi estate tax yun. Owner's tax yun or capital gains tax yun depending on the mode of transfer. Your question is, bang idiretso na lang sa pangalan ng anak? Tama ba? Diba?
Yes,
Sinasabi mo?
the children, bali sa apo, grandchildren.
So, sa apo. There will be 2 taxes there. The tax on the estate dahil sa pagkamatay ng mga magulang and donor's tax sa pagpasa noong property doon sa apo. Pwede yun. Paano i-donate niya?
Who would donate? Eh, patay na din.
Siya.
Who?
Sino patay?
Okay. Mother, father,
Sino ba
son.
pinatay?
Also, the son died.
Okay, if the son is dead already, kung may anak yung son,
yes.
Alright? Teka muna, sino ang namatay? Yung magulang o yung anak?
Lahat sila, patay na.
Hindi yun ang tanong ko. Ang tanong ko, sino ang unang namatay? Yung magulang o yung anak?
Yung pong magulang. The parent.
Okay. Nung namatay yung magulang, may karapatan na yung anak. So, nandyan na yung karapatan niya. Nung namatay siya, bababa ngayon yung kanyang karapatan dun sa anak niya.
Okay.
Alright?
Yes.
Estate tax na naman. Yung kanyang bahagi doon, papatawan nyo ng estate tax ulit.
Oh, so there'll be 3 estate taxes.
Depende kung gaano na ang katagal bago namatay yung anak. Magkasunod ba ng kamatayan?
Hindi po. 2015, 4 years gap.
4 years between who?
Opo.
The father and the child?
Opo.
Oh, so may discount.
And they would
ng
avail
konti
the
within-
amnesty. They would avail the amnesty today. That's why I asked.
Yeah, may amnesty siya, pero that's right, may amnesty siya.
Yeah.
Pwede siya mag-apply ng tax.
Okay, so it would be direct 6%.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Thank you po, Attorney. Clear. Very good po ang sagot niyo. Salamat po.
We have last two questions. We have Carol. Carol, you're unmuted. Hi, Carol. Asan na ba yung question? I cannot read it from here. I have a question. Which civil law will you follow for dividing your properties if you are a dual citizen? Example, Filipino and US citizen.
That's correct. Wala pang jurisprudence na klaro diyan, no? Yung dual citizenship is fairly new in there is not a ruling yet concerning which to follow. But the thing that I do for my client is, kasi halimbawa dual citizen siya sa Amerika at saka dito sa Pilipinas. Sa Amerika, walang compulsory heirs. Dito meron. Alright? So magulo talaga yan kung ano ang susundin dyan. Ngayon, ang ginagawa ko para sa kliyente ko, I make them declare in the will what the citizenship that they will invoke. So, I, Angelo M. Cabrera, an American citizen naturalized on so-and-so. Then you invoke. If you invoke your American citizenship, then you use the American law in the distribution. On the other hand, if you invoke your Philippine citizenship, then you use the Filipino citizenship. Now, hindi foolproof yan. Ako sinisimplehan ko lang yan para hindi magkagulo. Ang assumption dyan is susundin ng mga anak yung ano yung nakasulat doon. Alright? Ibig sabihin, sige, sundin natin kay Papa na in-invoke niya yung Pilipino niya or in-invoke niya yung American niya. Susundin niya. But technically, any one of the children can actually contest and say, teka muna, Amerikano din yung tatay ko. Or Pilipino din yan. Hindi pwede ako mawalan yan. As an American, pwede niya akong tanggalin. Pwede yon. Pero as a Filipino, hindi niya pwede akong tanggalin. Yun ang controversy na wala pang nagiging kasong ganun. So, I cannot answer you as to what the Supreme Court, how the Supreme Court would eventually rule on that. What I can tell you is what I advise my clients to invoke a citizenship when they make their last will, to make it easier when the time comes. At least for the children, at least nakikita nila kung bakit yun ang ini-invoke ng parent.
Okay, and last question from Miss Lay Bonifacio.
Hello, attorney.
Hi.
This is a question for a friend. If yung tatay pinangalan lahat ng properties sa anak niya na lalaki, na second family na yun, so wala nang habol yung first family niya dun sa properties na yun. Tama po ba?
In the sense that napakahirap habulin kasi patutunayan mo na hindi sa kanya yon, na mahirap patunayan yun eh. Na kahit na sabihin mo wala pa siyang income o paano mo nalaman na nanggaling naman sa tatay yung pera, mahirap patunayan yun. Ano? So, in a sense, kapag nasa kanya nung anak, talagang mahirap ng galawin yun.
Kahit sila pa yung legitimate family, sir, hindi na nila pwede habulin.
Yan ang ginagawa ng mga may ibang pamilya nga na pwede kayo maghabol pero magkakaubos lang kayo ng pera bago niyo ma-settle yan. Ano? Pwede yaman lang kami mga abogado dyan, of course.
Yes, sir. Kung sakaling magsulat ng kung sumulat siya ng pasulati ng last will and testament, posible pa ba?
Hindi rin pwede kasi wala naman sa pangalan niya. Alam niyo, yung last will and testament, yung isinusulat mo lamang doon, yung mga ari-arian mo. So kahit nasabihin mo dyan itong property na ito, ibibigay mo kay wala naman sa pangalan mo yun. Paano mo ipamimigay ang wala na sa pangalan mo?
Okay po. Salamat. Kawawa naman sila. Thank you po, sir. Ingat po kayo. Salamat po. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lay. Ang very interesting yung last question natin, 'di ba? Kaya mag-ingat, wag muna i-transfer So anyway, inulan na tayo. Thank you so much, attorney. But eto guys, please, if you have a Viber QR scanner, please scan this QR code for feedback for Attorney Cabrera para thank you man lang sa kanya because he has given us his time today. So bigyan naman natin siya ng honest feedback. All right? And I will give it to him. And of course, for next week, we have Tuwarchi Yukwen. And this is the WoW next week. As you know him, no? I'm the artist speaker. And then tomorrow, we have BM Joseph as guest namin ni Lay. And then of course, on Friday, we have SM Rosel Tagle of Mulberry. Yan. And if you are not a member of Genesis 100 yet, facebook.com/groups Genesis 100. And as a token of appreciation, sir, we're giving you, I know that you already have a hard copy of this. I gave you this, but I'll give you a PDF so that you can also give to your friends and family. This copy of my husband's book, One Woman Man Speaks. And kung po pwede lang that you can give also like a review. Kasi this is all for men. Yan. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. Maraming salamat ulit kay Attorney Cabrera. And everyone, we can now unmute you and say your thank you personally to Attorney Cabrera.
Thank you, Attorney Cabrera.
Thank you very much. Attorney, as always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney.
Thanks.
May I have a last word before I go?
Yes, Attorney.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I usually.
Thank you, Attorney Cabrera.
Yes. Let me just leave you with this word before I go. We talk about free portion, and let me end. Let me end with this biblical verse. Inheritance. And I always say that when we plan, it is always good to do the right thing. And the right thing means we do things within the bounds of law. We always do things within the bounds of law. That is the right thing. We do things the good way. The good way means that we rely on people who know what they're doing, on advisors, on professionals, all right, who are properly trained. When you combine the right way and the good way, you can be sure that things will go well with you and your family, because that is the promise in the Bible. And you shall do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, and it may go well with you. Amen?
Amen.
God bless you.
Lay was asking if you are still preaching in CCF, and if yes, what's your schedule?
No, I don't have a regular schedule. I only preach when I am requested to preach.
Oh, okay. Thank you once again, Attorney. Keep safe, everyone. Ang lakas nung thunder and lightning. I hope
It's not raining here.
It's not raining there. Okay, dito ang lakas po sa Pasig. But anyway,
Pasig,
unmute
okay.
everyone. Unmute na everyone and say your thing. Okay, guys, you're unmuted.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Attorney. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Hello to
Bless you,
Ted.
Janet. Nice to see you again. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Joey.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time Wow,
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
your weekly dose of wisdom.
So every Wednesday, we will invite wisdom-filled individuals to share with us their expertise, competence, and experience that will help us gain more success, knowledge, and wisdom.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday. It's time